Okay, welcome back.
General government. The first item on the agenda is service ballots. So at our last meeting, we had a delegation from Mass Labs and on service ballots. Is there another thing? Did you want to speak to that item, Mr. Pino?
Yeah, if council will recall, there was a presentation by Mass Lass on the service ballot piece. I can say that we've had discussion among staff with regards to some potential capacity issues. It's based on how we are transitioning to some electronic processes with the election. However, based on that presentation and the anticipated, I will say, volume of work, I think that it is workable and doable by staff if council was interested in moving forward, that we would certainly make a concerted effort in making this work, working alongside the program and getting this up and running if that was the will of council based on the presentation. I'm certainly open to any questions with regards to that.
Okay. And, like there was quite a bit of information given during the presentation. But we didn't have a chance to discuss it as far as whether, it's something that we'd like to move forward with. So I will open the floor to questions or comments on that piece at this time. Councillor St. Louis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. I found the presentation very interesting. I think it's something that we definitely should be looking at. We've all seen a lot of the struggles that we've gone through with our service request system, and we've all heard from our residents of some of the concerns, and anything that we can do to try to assist our residents with providing feedback to us. If it's at the time of the if that's at the time of the election,
Yeah.
then so be it. If anybody is able to provide any comments or concerns at that time, and I understand that it's not specific to complaints about the roads, but if there's any information that we can get from our residents, I think.
Just want to be clear that it's the program is one to gather input from residents who would be interested in volunteering or connecting with agencies or organizations. So not necessarily feedback to council, but more a connection system to help spur volunteerism. So, Councillors Restul, thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor. I thought the presentation was good as well, and I think timing is good. I know with the pandemic, it certainly took a downturn to a lot of individuals being involved in volunteerism in communities, not only here in West Nipissing, but across the province and even further. So I think if there's an opportunity and through our CEO's comments that it's something that's manageable with staff commitment, time needed, and supports to make it happen, I think it would be great, because we always struggle not only just with municipal boards, committees, those type things, but even within the community. And I think I asked the question if the information could be shared with other community partners. And I'm fairly certain that the individual mentioned that it was possible. And if I think, out into the community, I'm sure there's a lot of different, school-related health institutions would be interested in accessing information on individuals who are interested in volunteering. So I'd be supportive if it would have been the situation where it would have been a burden on staff, and especially at election time, I probably wouldn't be supportive. But if our CEO thinks it can happen, I think it's a good initiative.
Yeah. Other questions? Okay, I'll speak. I was approached with the idea and I thought it was great because, we have seen a need, and whether it's health organizations or sports organizations or social service organizations, there is always great demand for people power within the community, but also, I've seen a lot of people who are looking for opportunities to volunteer, especially maybe people who are new or recently returning to the community and may not know what organizations are around. And so I think it's kind of both sides of the spectrum. I too would have concerns about overburdening staff because we know election years are very busy. And if it is something that we decide to, sorry, and one more thing I wanted to mention was the fact that it's a pilot project and there are only a handful of communities across the country that kind of get to buy in as a great opportunity to kind of be on the ground floor of something that may take off and really, it's a great opportunity for a community to get on a project like this where there is, outside the staffing resources, there is no hard cost to implementation. All I would ask is that if we go forward, that staff feels welcome to come back to us if as the program starts to roll out, the resources required to implement does become burdensome, or it is more than what we're expecting it to be, that they feel comfortable coming back to council if there's any issues during the rollout, so that we can address those if those issues come up. So I'd just like to see interest around the table, and then that would come back as a resolution on the next.
I just wanted to mention that I haven't had an opportunity to reach out to the service provider that we have engaged under contract for the provision. At this time, I'm not aware whether it's possible or
Okay.
whether it would have to be something that we would do concurrently with the election, but perhaps outside of that platform.
Okay.
Given, I don't know what the restrictions and the parameters are as to what can be on those voter notifications, because it was my understanding that it would be a separate QR code, but there is a finite amount of information that can go on to those voter notifications. So I haven't had the opportunity. Once council's general direction is to look into it further, I will reach out to the service provider to find out if it's doable within that framework.
Okay, I guess we don't know whether the coordinator of this pilot program has already had, because you said there's a very limited amount of companies that actually do the electronic voting in Ontario. I'm going to assume in other parts of Canada. So it might be the case where, because they're looking at this type of rollout, they've already asked those questions as well.
And that may be, I'll have to follow up with them.
Okay, so what's the next steps then, please?
So if I may, I think it might be important to just flesh out whether or not this is of interest to council to proceed. And then we can certainly do the background work. And if we have to come back to say that it's just not going to work. Believe in our presentation and prior to council, there was some discussion about this, that they do provide all of those resources. So, from my perspective, perhaps that would be my recommendation is this something that council is interested in doing and moving forward with? And if there is flavor, certainly, if there's no flavor, then we can end this here. And if there is flavor, then we can do some further research through Madam Clerk with respect to potentially the service provider for our anticipated electoral process to see if it is compatible, and if it is, then we can certainly, or if there are some challenges, we can certainly come back to council and ask for a review of the decision.
Okay, so I'll just, Councillor Pellerin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering, like, we're changing the way we're gonna vote this fall, right? Compared to previous years. So this is gonna be a new way of doing. And now we're gonna have this implemented. Is it compatible? Is it gonna mesh with what we're doing? Are we maybe taking too much for the staff? That's my,
I mean, I think that's what Madam Clerk and Ms. Pillon were just saying, is that if council is generally in agreement, they're gonna do a little bit more research and make sure that the systems are compatible and, you know, from the presentation we received, staff is comfortable with the workload that this would entail. But with some further research, you know, they may come back, but you know, before they kind of dive in and do a kind of more fulsome analysis, they would like to make sure that this is something that council wants to proceed with. You know?
And I think just also pointing out through you, Madam Mayor, is that I think it's important for us to obviously give a fairly prompt response back to this company. If we are not interested, if there's no interest at this point, then I think it's only fair for us to come forward and give them our answer so that they can look to explore other opportunities and other municipalities so that we're just not.
Mhm.
Those are my comments. Thanks.
Other questions or comments on this? Okay, so I'd just like to see a show of hands, who would like to move forward in looking at the implementation of this program. Okay, I do see consensus around the table. Further research will be done and we'll come back to council. I would imagine you'll need a formal resolution in order to finalize any contract with the service provider. Yes. Okay, so we'll see that back at council. Thank you very much. Okay, next is 6.1.2, Damaris Riverfront RFP update. There is a memo from staff, our staff report in your package. And I will pass the floor to Monsieur Pillon.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And again, my thanks to Madam Clerk for putting this together. Important for council to note that we did have some recent conversation with respect to this particular process, given this the direction from council, the previous direction. Certainly, I appreciate your patience on this piece. I know that this has been an outstanding item for quite some time, and here we with some our request, I will say, for some further direction on this. But this is as we have become sort of more attuned to this particular situation. It's a little bit more complex than we anticipated. This piece of property is a fairly complex piece of property with some drainage issues, with some sanitary sewage disposal issues, and there is a sanitary sewage force main that does traverse this property. So we're looking for some further direction from council to, I suppose, point us in the right direction with respect to how you want us to actually approach this. As you can see from the detailed report from Madam Clerk, that there are some significant, again, I think, challenges with putting this out for an RFP with respect to, you know, are we setting ourselves up for complete failure because there are some significant challenges on this property? And will we get anybody interested in this particular property given those challenges? And should we be necessarily perhaps moving forward doing some additional work to try and flesh out some of these potential costs of these issues before we continue to proceed with the process? So as you can see, our recommendation is certainly, for council basically to direct us, to potentially retain some appropriate professional services to complete a feasibility, I will say a broader feasibility study on the municipally owned land, including engineering, planning, and financial analysis to determine whether development of the property is advisable. And Madam Clerk has provided quite a bit of statistics with regards to where we currently sit with our development-ready properties. And as you can see, we have a fair number of current properties already available through development or potentially through development in the future. And I will pass that along to Madam Clerk for any further comments. Then we'll open this up.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. First of all, I want to apologize for forgetting to remove the watermark from the report before I uploaded it. That was, yeah, anyways. No, I think Mr. Pilon basically covered it all in discussions with staff, infrastructure staff. We did determine that there is, some challenges with regard to existing infrastructure, and the fact that the property has had drainage concerns over time that the municipality has had to address due to some, unforeseen circumstances arising out of the initial development around it. So given everything that there is, coupled with the amount of development that we have currently of existing vacant lots, we're just looking for direction on determining whether or not this is a good project at this juncture, or whether it might be something that we would want to hold for a later date. But in any event, to find out whether or not it's financially feasible to proceed.
Okay. Open the floor to Councillor Plummer.
Mayor, I suggest that you push that the next term. We have enough. We've got, we're waiting for some phase 1 and phase 2 on a few properties, and I don't know, but I think we sold quite a few properties. I'd be curious compared to other terms if there was as many sales as we did. I doubt it. So let's not go crazy and slow down.
Thank you. Councillor Fallon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, I'd just like to ask, how much would a feasibility study, much would it likely to cost?
I'll defer that question to Mr. Poulin because he's acquired one most recently,
Part a
feasibility study.
for a development like that.
Yeah.
If we're looking at engineering, if we're looking at drainage, it could be substantial. I would say consulting fees could be upwards of $50,000 to do a full due diligence of the entire property and the development costs associated to it.
Councillor Fallon.
If I may, through you, and did we have an idea? I forget if we had a valuation done already or not.
175. Councillor Pellerin.
Yeah, but again, on the evaluation, how can we get an evaluation, a proper evaluation, when people don't know what problem we have with this land? So
Anything else? Okay, so staff is looking for direction at this point as to whether to proceed with some kind of feasibility study on the property, or the other option is just to kind of put it on the back burner for now. I mean, the land has been declared surplus. Actually, can I ask, I'm sorry. Can I ask a question in regards to the other developments that were listed there?
Sure.
The two that are quite old, the 2012 and 2010 Balsam Court and LaChance Drive.
Mhm.
Subdivision registered, does that have a expiry date like draft approvals or anything like that? Like, so,
They're not draft approved.
no, I know, but that's so whatever registered.
Mhm.
Are these built or are these vacant lots?
These are vacant lots.
Okay. But they are lots.
Yes, they are all separate lots that have not sold since the time that they were registered.
Are they for sale?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And the St. Charles extension, that was a extension on the draft approval that we just recently did.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, you know, there's, and the 89 lots, those are all vacant.
Yes.
And the 22 lots are all vacant. It's correct. Okay, Councillor Russell.
Madam Mayor, I think that's what's on the table, but it's a big investment, a fair investment to look at property when we already have a fairly good, even from what's here, amount of lots for those who might be interested. I think it was an idea that we looked at around the table to see if that's something that we could pursue, but I'd probably be open to the thought of Councillor Pellerin when we talk about maybe moving this a little bit further down the line. It doesn't look like we have a huge shortage of available lots for those who are interested in building, and so I'd probably be leaning in that direction, and just say thank you to our CEO and staff for putting this list together. It helps me understand what's available within our community that I wasn't aware of prior to this work being done.
Anything else? Okay, so the suggestion on the table is that we delay any future action on this until some point in the future. It's not a resolution, so it can be brought back by any one of us at any time. In the meantime, the land is still surplus and it'll remain surplus. So if, somebody sees that and comes along and is randomly interested, we'll find out about it. So I'd like to see if there's an interest of just, delaying this. Okay. Okay, we'll move on. Next up on the agenda, 6.1.3 tax ratios, fascinating discussion that we get to have every year.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I will delay pass this right along to my colleague, Ms. Braddock, for discussion.
So yes, you have to have this conversation every year, and it can be long or short as you'd like. So this is your fourth time through with it. Just as a quick reminder, we use the residential is kind of the base limit, and everything else is a ratio related to that residential rate. The new multi-res came in it's actually quite a number of years ago. So it's multi-res is more than 6 units. And so in 2017, the province said all new builds or substantial renovations go in at a 1-to-1 with the residential. Our stuff built prior to that time has this 1.96% ratio. That is one that this council did adjust in 2023. So in your first year, in your first go around, drop that one from 2 to 1.96. Aggregate extraction is a new one that the province actually added last year. So it is pulling out all the gravel pits. And when they pulled them out in 2025, they gave us a number that was just holding so that we were collecting the same amount of tax as it had been collected under the prior classification. And so they now have an entire new way of assessing gravel pits. And so that's what we see with the aggregate extraction. At the bottom of the first page, that range of fairness, range of flexibility, you can see the range of fairness. That's where the province would like all assessments or all sort of ratios to be going, is into that line, because the province would like the assessment side of property to sort of drive the taxation more than the ratio. As you're aware, the properties have not been reassessed since 2016, so we're a little bit behind in that field as well. range of flexibility is what we can play within, and you'll see that the high level is where all of our lines are. And so if we drop any of those, then we don't go back up. So, you know, we can drop that range of flexibility down, and then they'll issue a new range of flexibility that has the corresponding high level, as long as we're outside of that range of fairness. So on the second page, you know, and again, I've given sort of the usual scenarios that we do. What happens if we reduce the commercial ratio, not the rate, but the commercial ratio by 1% to 2%? What happens if we do it to multi-res? But the possibilities are sort of endless, but you sort of get an idea of what the impact is going to be. Because we are largely a residential-based assessment, I'm going to look at just the reduce commercial by 1%. So if we reduce the commercial ratio by 1%, on every $100,000 of residential assessment, it's going to cost them an extra $1.16. But on every $100,000 of commercial assessment, it's going to save them $20. So because our residential pool is so large compared to everything else, it has that impact of you know, providing a significant return to commercial or multi-res without it being as hard a hit on the residential rates from there. And so you can see sort of the kind of scenarios with that. Like I said, you know, you can look at, you know, if you wanted to get really aggressive and you want to look at, you know, doing a much bigger decrease to any of these categories, I can certainly look at those if there's sort of some direction from council. You don't need to change them. You can keep them as they are. Like I said, this council reduced multi-res in 2023. Prior to that, we had commercial reduced in 2015, and there hasn't been a lot of change. And you'll see that with municipalities, they don't have a lot of change in these. When I look at sort of, you know, it's hard to kind of look at comparator groups, but when I look at, you know, some of the comparator groups, if I look at just at our neighbors, and I was looking at North Bay in particular because our weighted assessment impacts how our DSAB levy is calculated. But they're actually just a little bit higher than us in multi-res, a little bit higher than us in commercial, which means that they're, you know, in the same ballpark, and our weighted averages are going to kind of work the same. You know, Sudbury is in the same, about the same. East Ferris is kind of creative. Temagami is kind of creative. But a lot of them, you know, you have that. There really isn't a line where you know, that you can see that all multi-res is around the same line. The municipalities are doing it really based on what kind of mix of assessment they have.
May I ask a couple of questions to open? First of all, multi-residential is considered how many units or more?
7 and more.
7 and more. I knew there was a number, I just couldn't remember what it was. The difference between industrial and large industrial?
So large industrial is, I think, 30,000. 300,000 square feet. Yeah. And so we don't have anybody in the large industrial at this time.
And landfills pay taxes?
So if the landfill is not our landfill. So you know, and we don't, so we actually have an old M&R one that's within our district, but other communities might have, North Bay is a good example. Their landfill is outside of their community, so they are paying taxes to someone else for their landfill. So if we had a landfill in our area that actually belonged to somebody else.
Okay, and what would a sewage lagoon be classified as? No, it's a fair, it's
Yeah,
not a
so-
landfill exactly. Do you know exactly where I'm going with this?
So our assets that we use entirely for our purposes are exempt from taxes.
Okay, but what if, like in North Bay, there was another municipality that had, was operating landfills or sewage lagoons within West Nipissing? How is this, what is the
I-
property classification?
I don't
for
know what a sewage lagoon would be. I'm going to guess it might be commercial even, but I actually have no idea. No idea. I would have to look at that.
Okay. Sorry. I'll open the floor for other questions or comments. Councillor Rivard?
No, every town does that.
Oh, no, I thought you had some question. Okay, so, the question that, our staff would like an answer to is there any appetite or suggestion by any member of council that we change the existing rates at this time? Or is council comfortable moving forward in 2026, using the same formulas as, we have, last year? Councillor Clary?
Where, if it's not broken,
Anybody else? Okay, so, I show of hands and it would come back as resolutions to set those rates next term. And everybody is comfortable with the rates as they are currently structured. And ratios, rates and ratios. Ratios. Thank you. That'll come back in next meeting. Okay, next item is 6.1.5, and I'll ask our deputy mayor, Councillor Restool, to chair this portion of the meeting. Okay.
So under 6.1.5 is the short-term rental accommodations bylaw 24-23 and promote proposed amendment.
Skip one.
It's deliberated.
Off to such a good start, and I thought of it. I'm sorry. My apologies. I did skip 6.1.4. And that is in regards to the flag request from West Nipissing Pride that came through first as a delegation a couple of weeks ago. And with that, I will there is information in your package, and I'll pass the floor to our CIO, Councillor Kino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor, sorry, missed.
Worries. As you can see, this is a request from West Nipissing Pride for their celebration, anticipated celebration for the month of June. And more succinctly, this is a request to have several flag raisings and in several areas, and to maintain those flag raisings, I will say, outside of current policy. And you will see that we've attached the policy for your consideration. And why this has come to the council is obviously to in some direction on that piece, because council certainly does have some discretion to go and approve requests outside of policy. This is certainly part of a larger ask as well through other requests that will be dealt with at a later time, but we are strictly just looking for some direction with regards to the flags. And we requested here that this committee is asking for with regards to flag raisings and displaying of flags in various areas outside of our current policy. So I don't know if there are any questions, but you have in your packet there, if you've given it a bit of a breeze over. I think of interest is the request to ask for there was a few requests here, but more importantly, as I said, we're looking for some direction with regards to the flag. Looking to flag, to hold some flag raisings in 8 different locations across our municipality, and for those flags to be flown for a total of, I will say, 30 days throughout the Pride celebrations over the month of June. I will pass the floor to my colleague, Mr. Poulin, for any further comments on that piece.
No, I think,
Clarify.
alluded to, Mr. Pilon, there are several different, requests, and we're looking for council to provide direction so that we can go back, to the Pride Committee and advise them as to how we will proceed. And as Mr. Pilon mentioned, separate request coming that will be coming to council through the discretionary grant process at our next meeting. But we forwarded the request received for pertaining to flags. Based on policy, they did submit a specific request on letterhead. So I don't know if council wants to go down the list,
Yeah.
starting with item 1 and just advise us accordingly.
So there's a couple of requests here, and I think that that's probably the best idea is to go through kind of one-on-one. So in our current flag policy that was adopted by this council, the community flags will be flown on the dedicated flag pole at 225 Holt Street, which is the partner to our Canadian flagpole located just to on the north end of the building here. The request here is that instead the ceremony and flag raising be done at the Minnehaha Bay flagpole. That's been the location that has been used for the last several years, and they do a community event in regards to that. So we obviously have the very large flagpole which flies the Canadian flag, and there's a smaller secondary flag that's about halfway up the driveway that has been used in the past. So the first ask is council comfortable allowing the flag raising ceremony to continue taking place at Minnehaha Bay, or we'd like to follow policy and have them do the flag raising ceremony outside City Hall here? Questions or comments? Councillor Fedheim?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We adopted a flag policy last year. I believe it was in the context of Pride request last year. I think there was a minor controversy or maybe misunderstanding, but that's what prompted us to adopt the flag policy. It was discussed at length then, and I would be in favor of sticking to flag policy with respect to any of the points that directly apply to the policy.
Thank you. Councillor Rivard?
Thank you. I don't mind that. There's a flagpole down at Minnehaha. I think it's a nice location where down and it could be all year. Would it be required to have one there and here if we choose that it can be at Minnehaha? I don't see a problem with it being there. That's my suggestion.
That's a little further down on the request. So request number one would be, I think their preference would be to do the flag raising at Minnehaha. And if not possible, to hold it here at City Hall.
The first question is can the flag raising ceremony be conducted at Minnehaha? Yes.
So yeah, sorry. Thanks for the clarification. I'm in support of it in Minnehaha Bay. It's a nice area to do it. It's been going on for a few years. You see a bunch of people get there together. They'll put up some tents and there's speeches. Twigs usually they benefit from it as well. I think to bring everyone here in front of town hall may actually be a little more disruptive to the entire organization with the road right there as well. I think Minnehaha is perfect. There's a flagpole there as well, so.
Okay. Councillor Bristol?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, I agree with Councillor Rivard. I think the organization's done a lot of great work over the years to raise awareness and, build the organization up. And I've been to a number of the ceremonies down at Minnehaha. And it's great to see the energy and the excitement and the group come together with supports from the community as well. So I'd be supportive of continuing that.
Other questions or comments? Okay, so I would imagine that if we are making some decisions that are exceptions or exemptions to the flag policy, that will come back at the next meeting. Or is committee decision okay with you?
Through you, Madam Mayor, if it's council's wish to adopt the council's decision this evening by resolution, we can come back at the March 17th meeting.
Okay.
With specific resolution providing guidelines, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just want to be clear on what the process is. So if nobody else has any other comments on the Minnehaha Bay, I'll see a show of hands on who would be in favor of permitting the ceremony of Minnehaha Bay. Vote on that. Or vote pass. What?
It's 4-4.
What?
It's 4 and 4.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Caitlin up there. Okay, okay, so I guess it's, I don't know, I mean, it's not a resolution and we're missing a member, but, so I don't know what to do with that.
If I may, I would suggest, being 4-4, that means it would be defeated. So the resolution would read that the ceremony would take place here at 225 Holditch. And if it's council's wish, if all members are here and
Somebody
a
wants to
vote that
propose an
changes
amendment.
that, then yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The second request is that, the banners, be displayed on King Street.
Sorry to interrupt you, Madam Mayor, that there's another second part to that first request in that the Pride Committee is further requesting that wherever the flag raising occur, that flag be up for the entirety of the month of June. Which is also, outside of the policy, which states that, community flags will be flown for, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Boulay, a total of 3 days, 3 or 4?
1 week, I believe this.
Whatever, 5 days?
I think it's really.
Sorry, I'm just trying to read.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
do it too.
Maximum of 1 week of the year. It's like 3.3.4
3.3.3.
subsection 4. Or,
So maximum of 1, could be in favor of extending, the, timeline in the flag policy. Past the 1 week. Okay,
In the policy?
there's in the policy,
Yeah, but it's good. I thought you said in the pride policy.
in the policy,
Okay.
Flag.
sorry,
Flag policy.
flag policy. Past the 1 week. No, the 1 week posting. Okay, and then the pride banners are the horizontal banners on the lampposts. Those are property of Pride and they have been installed on the lampposts in previous years. I don't believe our flag policy speaks to. Okay. Oh. Well, it says,
0.6.
okay, in section 3.6 of the flag policy on page 23, banners shall be displayed for municipal branding purposes at the discretion of the municipality. No group or organizations shall request the flying of community flags on these light poles. However, I will say that just recently, the Legion had their campaign. And yeah, and so I don't know that this part of the policy is a great one. Although I guess that could be an exception as well, right? So. So council may grant an exception on that. Okay, so in the past, the banners have flown on the lampposts. The questions or comments on continuation of that? Councilor Pellerin?
How many posts are we talking about and what's the?
It's just King Street, is it?
I believe through Madam Mayor, there's 15 light poles on King Street. We have others on Front, but they've traditionally only had their banners on King. There's 15 poles and it's 2 staff per 2 maintenance staff. Takes about an hour. It's not a lot of maintenance time. They just remove our banners and put the Pride banners.
Other questions or comments on the light post banners? Councilor Resto?
I'd probably share the same comments that I shared earlier. The group's done a great job in raising awareness within our community and, letting individuals know that there's safe spaces within West Nipissing and I'd like to continue, I'd vote for continuing the support that we've shown in the past.
Thank you. Okay, so would be in favor of permitting the banners as has been done in past years and for a week or in the past, it's been done for the month of June.
Correct.
So who would be in favor of allowing banners on the poles in King Street? Okay, that's okay. And for in the past, it has been for the month of June. Does that pass muster? Who's in favor of for the entire month?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
The banner's treated the same thing as a flag or is it different?
What do you mean?
Well, because the week restriction is for flags.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't speak. I guess the week
Silent.
restriction is really
It's silent?
just- It's silent on that.
So since it's silent on the policy, I'd be in favor of
Okay. For the month? Yes, okay, thank you. Yeah, next, safe space stickers. I think they've been provided. You're actually looking for direction from council about,
Yeah, they were provided to the clerk at the last meeting and they felt that was important to put it in their request to I guess to permit the stickers being on display at all of our facilities.
issues with that request, Councilor Jagger, any questions about that request?
Thank you. Are they requesting it permanently or again for?
Yeah, well, I think most organizations that display those types of stickers on the door, it goes on the window at the front door and it stays in.
Safe to say they would be quasi-permanent. They're stickers, so I'm not sure that we would be placing them, removing them for a year.
Well, I'll say what I think about this. I'm not sure that it allowing organizations to place stickers on the entrances of the municipality, on municipal buildings, because first of all, I don't know how many stickers are we gonna have to put up. I will say, I don't see the point of those stickers. I have never, in all the years I've lived in West Nipissing, I've never felt unsafe at any premises of the municipality or business or organization. And I just think that maybe putting up these stickers, does it imply that other places are not safe if they don't put up the stickers? So my personal opinion on that has always been the same. I don't feel unsafe in West Nipissing, and I don't see the point of the stickers.
Questions or comments? Okay, so who's in favor of the stickers going on, what is it, all entrances of all public facilities? Okay.
I guess I just have a comment.
Yeah,
Just regarding that, since we were provided with a bunch of the stickers, is there something, maybe some sort of smart way that we think we can distribute them to people who may want them instead of just throwing them out? Type of deal, if we're not gonna put them up as requested, is there a way? Just thinking about, the organization paid for this. So is that at least a way that we can get them back to the organization, or if staff wants them, or if we can let them know that the stickers are available for their own private use? It's just my suggestion.
If I may, Madam Mayor, if memory serves, they're centric to West Nipissing. I believe it does say that the West Nipissing residents, I have a sticker in my office. And they're very innocuous. They're probably 2x2 or 2.5x2.
That's just what I meant.
I think it may be a fairly tall order to put them every entrance, but
Yeah, I don't mean like putting them at the entrance. Almost like sending out an email to staff saying, hey, we have these stickers if you want them.
We can just return it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just return them.
it does say West Nipissing, West on it. For all of you,
Okay,
if you don't recall, your counselor.
thank you. Okay, yeah, Counselor St. Louis.
We maybe just put them in a box and put them on the counter in the front, and if anybody wants to take one, you're more than welcome to take them, but just don't put them in the windows everywhere. Like, I'm saying about it, saying they did pay for those. I mean, if we just leave them out front, when, and on, you know, a few of our municipalities where we have, whether it's the libraries or the post office, so people can take them and that way they'll get through throughout the municipality.
Counselor Fedine.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just don't, think it's our, I mean, the organization can decide what they want to do with the stickers. I don't think it's for us to distribute those stickers on their behalf. I think they are quite capable of finding homes for the stickers that is.
Thank you. So that was a no on the stickers, okay. Now, as far as the request for, the multiple community, flags, I'd like a little bit of feedback, from staff on that. Obviously, that was, something that, caused some issues last year, and just what is available and what are the possible solutions. So we have obviously 25 Gold Street per week, in outlying, areas outside Sturgeon Falls. Are there other locations that have flagpoles that would be available?
So, in River Valley, we have two flagpoles. One has the Canadian flag, the other one has the Franco-Ontarian flag. And last year, I believe we flew the pride flag below the Franco-Ontarian flag. Field, we only have the one flagpole at the Cenotaph, I believe. I'm not sure, Chief, if we have one at the fire hall or not.
One at the Cenotaph.
And that flagpole is flying the Canadian flag. Cache Bay, we have one flagpole. The community center is flying the Canadian flag. What we did last year was, as through council's direction, we did order and install some 45-degree angle poles to the buildings to be able to display the flags. We did that in Field. We did that in Cache Bay. In Living, the only flagpole to date is at the CCL. By memory, I don't believe we have a flagpole on municipal property. So they would have to talk to the CCL, which they did last year. And I don't believe we have a flagpole in Monetville either.
In Burner, I believe we,
Oh.
a building, a wall mounted.
We did a wall mount in Burner, correct?
Okay, so in Cache Bay and Burner and Field, there are the wall mounted ones available. Those are permanently on the buildings. And in Living, we do not have a municipally owned flagpole, and in River Valley, we have a secondary flagpole where it could be flown underneath the Franco-Ontarian.
Correct.
Okay, so Living is not within our control, because we don't have a structure or building there. Okay, questions or comments on that piece? And Councillor Restool?
I think through Madam Mayor, as we're going through this flag policy and we have things identified there and where we can and how we can, I think it might be a good opportunity to look into getting maybe a couple more of those 45-degree mounts in locations that we don't have them, so that we can at least implement our policy across the municipality. And in Living, just a question. We have a municipal dock there with a band shell or some type of structure.
The rink.
Municipal dock, but there's no flagpole there. The only other building we have is the rink building and the fire hall. Those are the two buildings we have in Living that are ours.
So if that's an opportunity at one of those locations, even if we're gonna roll up the policy, why not roll it everywhere?
Yeah.
And just a question fair question, I think. With the Franco Perrier flag in River Valley, that flies all year.
Correct.
Is that, and I'm just asking, my wife's French and so are all my kids, so don't come, don't come with anger here. I'm just asking.
So
Our policy is, does that apply within our policy? Or is this something separate for that?
So we do have a separate flag policy, what we're looking at now, or it references the separate policy that deals with the Franco-Ontarian flag, because in our bilingual, that's it, our bilingualism policy references the Franco-Ontarian flag, and that the Franco-Ontarian flag be flown at our key municipal facilities. And the second flagpole was a request from, I believe, Union Culturelle des Femmes Francophones l'Ontario a year ago or two. And council approved the installation of a second flagpole specifically to fly the Franco-Ontarian flag. And the rest is within our existing bilingualism bylaw.
Thank you, and I appreciate the pressure for me. Just understand, especially with the implementation of a fairly new policy that we have here. Just thinking of all the different situations that we have, so thanks for that info.
Okay, questions or comments on the community flags, so the separate community flags? So is council in favor of allowing the flags to go up in the locations that we have a secondary option? So that would be Cache Bay, Verner, Field, and River Valley. Yes, for 1 week, as per the policy. Okay, let's see a show of hands on that. So that can come back. As for living, we don't currently have anything. So if council wanted to direct for a wall-mounted flagpole at rink, I guess the rink would be either that or councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry for interrupting, but the $4,800 grant we gave to the CCL, they were asking for a second flagpole. So CCL will have a second flagpole, I imagine, by then. So it'll be up to, again, we need to refer them to the CCL. The CCL's decision, but they will.
Okay. Just likely not in time for this year. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So refer to the CCL for a location. Okay. So what I've got here is that. So we said that a resolution will come for the ceremony to be held at 225 Colditch with the flag in place for 1 week. The banners will be displayed on King Street for the entirety of the month. These stickers were no, and then resolution that secondary flags be allowed in the posts that we had installed last year in Cache Bay, Verner, Field, and River Valley.
Madam Mayor?
Yes. Counselor Nicole, hi.
Hi, Madam Mayor, can I change my mind on something actually?
Sure.
For item number 1, I think it actually is safer to be at Minnehaha Bay and then there's not people in the road or in the parking lot. So I changed my vote
Okay.
to whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Counselor Clerk.
I just, because these are deviations from adopted policy,
Yes.
they need to come back as resolutions. I'm requesting direction on whether they come back as separate resolutions, because they deal with different sections of the policy.
Let's do that because I think it makes it easier to chair it. As far as like if there is any discussion, we are missing one member. And depending on how the resolution reads, if we do them one resolution at a time, that just to me, it's a little easier to manage the session and the voting on the individual items.
Okay, thank you.
And do you need any further direction where I think we can provide everything on that?
All good.
Okay.
Just.
Oh, sorry, Councillor.
So
Stoll.
just for clarity, the change in vote for Council Nicol.
Yeah.
It's now
It's going to
5-3.
be Minnehaha Bay will be the resolution for the ceremony, flag raising ceremony. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so that discussion's wrapped. Those resolutions will come back to council at our next meeting. And before we move on to 6.1.5, it is that time in the evening that I will take a mover and seconder. Councillor Rivard, I think, wants to be the mover for every success during the term. Okay, and Councillor.
Moved by Councillor Rivard and seconded by Councillor Restool. At 7:59 PM, a motion was tabled to extend, no, that's the wrong. No, wrong resolution. Pulled out the wrong one, my apologies. I don't know who you are. Anyways, we're gonna just wing it and we're going to say that we're going to, at 7:59, a motion was tabled for a 10-minute recess.
That's correct. All in favor? Carried, thank you.
It felt smoky.
Oh, it's.
That's-
So we're going to do as adults. again.
Won't be as good.
Hey, welcome back from our brief recess. We're in number 6, committee of the whole, 6.1.5, short-term rental accommodations, and I'll pass the chair to Councillor Russell. Amen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As was mentioned, we have 6.1.5 short-term rental accommodation bylaw 24-23 with proposed amendments. And our CEO, Mr. Peel, has provided a memorandum in our package. And it refers back to February 17th when we, as council, had agreed to make changes to the short-term rental accommodation bylaw in principle. And we also decided that direction was that the Cottagers Association should be provided with a draft of the proposed amendments for their comments. So prior to circulating the document, which is the revised short-term rental accommodation bylaw, that seeking council's direction to proceed with that circulation of the amendment as drafted, which is included in our package, for comments by the proposed associations that'd be circulated to include the Clear Lake Cottagers Association, Lake Muscatine Cottagers Association, and the Upper French River Cottagers Association. So I'll turn it over to our CEO for comments on the revised document and proposed actions.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And as Councillor Stool has alluded to, Madam Clerk has prepared a draft here that does have many of the proposed, I will say, amendments. And hopefully you've all had a chance to review this draft policy. And if there are any further comments or additions or deletions or areas of concern that need to be brought up, then certainly we are all ears and will certainly be in a position to assist on that piece if you so choose. And following that, if there are no glaring issues or concerns or requests for further amendments or discussion, then again, as Councillor Stool has intimated, we are looking for some direction to be able to put this over to the various cottage associations for their employment and further discussion. I'll pass it over to Madam Clerk for any potential comments on that piece.
Everything said that needs to be said.
I say, okay.
Excellent. Well, thanks for that background. Mr. Pilon, I'll open the floor to any questions. Councillor Feta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, can I suggest that we also send it to Huggle Township Lakeside Property Owners Association, which is Huggle Township.
Oh, Hugo Township, sure.
Yeah, it's actually the Deer Lake.
Yep, I know who they are.
Okay. Okay. On the draft, I think it's pretty much reflects our last discussion and the intention of council, so I know.
Okay. Councillor Colorway.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, about Deer Lake, and does Cash Lake have an association? I'll ask.
Okay.
Okay.
And I guess Upper French River is Laving is included in that. I thought that the Laving had their. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Mr. Chair, I can speak to that. No, there's no, not that I'm aware, there's no Cottagers Association in Laving. The Upper French River Cottagers Association, I'm a member, and they welcome anyone that's who's on Lake Nipissing. So essentially, anyone on Lake Nipissing can join them.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. And for those who are members, I'm sure you can share or people can reach out to the existing members currently registered to share their comments and thoughts. Any other questions or comments? Not seeing any, so
I'll just, what I will do is, can I just give direction on what council would like me to ask for a timeline is a month? Bring it back in a month with the comments?
So it was a month for responses from all of these associations. Okay with council for timeframe?
There seems to be nodding.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
so we'll go ahead with that 1 month and we'll go ahead, and is council in agreement with adding the Deer Lake group? Well, I'll set that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can I also suggest maybe, I mean, they may not be a formal, I just had a quick look, whether like Cache has an association. They don't, but as often is the case, they often have a Facebook page, a community Facebook page, and, you know, I don't see any harm in posting the draft on those, Facebook pages.
So, okay with the other members of council? Seems like that's okay as well. Okay, so we're good with the direction for the 1 month and for the groups that the draft circulated. Councillor Nicol, any comments or thoughts on that one? All good? Perfect. Okay, so with that, I will turn it back over to you, Madam Mayor.
Great job, Councillor Ristel. Thank you. Next, on the agenda, we have 6.2, Environmental Services Committee. Councillor Nicol is generally the chair for that committee. Being by Zoom tonight, she has asked as the Lord.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So first off, we're gonna go with the staff presentation of the solid waste budget for 2026. I pass that over to Mr. Pino.
Yes. My thanks obviously to Ms. Henning and her group, in particular, Mr. Burton, and to Ms. Braddock, putting this together. I will say that they not noted the proposed request for percentage is tabled at
4.67.
4.67%. And with that, you have the document in front of you. I will open the floor for some questions, and I'm sure Ms. Craddock, Ms. Henning can jump in with any questions you may have with respect to the budget.
So, yep. So the rate revenue, I'll just sort of, in this case, and we talked about it as I did sort of the, you know, Q2 and Q3 with the solid waste budget. So when we had those properties that were the sort of the transitional properties in 2025, those ones that got curbside started the mid-year point, when we actually rolled through that exercise, as well as we're doing that exercise, we were cleaning up another number of other properties that actually had curbside and various things. It was a good audit period. So we ended up picking up some additional income to sort of start from that point, more than we were expecting. And then those transitional properties did not have a full curbside rate last year. So I put them in at our starting point as if all those transitional properties have the full curbside rate. So our starting point before we get into actually looking at rate increases is the 1,567,100 in rate revenue. The big change is that loss then of the Stewardship Ontario, that was the last bit of money that we used to get from Blue Box. And so you can see even last year, we only had sort of a portion of it because of that change in the Blue Box. So it's completely gone now. Our miscellaneous income is composed really of a small amount of tipping fees that we collect at all of our rural landfills, but it's primarily collected from recycling revenue that's tied to things like scrap metal. And that we still handle, as well as the money that we do get for maintaining those depots at our landfill site. So there is funds in there. So that's our sort of starting point with revenue. Salaries and wages. So when you look at the historical, you see some odd things in the historical. But what we had in the past is that all of our rural landfills, those small rural landfills, were run by contracts. And so we had those little boards that ran contracts. And so over years, we've sort of taken those landfills kind of under the municipal umbrella as far as we staff them with municipal staff. And so we've had this change off between some of the contract lines and then to the staffing lines, as well as when we did, you know, when we sort of reached this sort of point this in 2025, the manager that gets shared between municipality and WNES has got a slightly different allocation as far as the wages for that position, because all those other contracts have now come out of contracts and come into actual employees. So there's a larger workload on the municipal side. So it has sort of shifted that burden between the two of them. Other than that, we have part-time employees at all of our rural sites. That adds to our wage line. Benefits just sort of follows with wages. Not a lot of change in, I shouldn't say that. I said not a lot of significant change in there. So we look at contractors. Contractors is a little bit lower as a budget estimate for 2025, for 2026 and 2025. And that's just that end of transition in the, we had part of the year where we actually still had recycling. So we had various contractors that were doing some of that recycling and pickup and such for us. And we've just sort of removed the last of those contractors in 2026. That's why you see the little bit of drop in the contractor line. The insurance line is the same that we saw across the municipality in all of our insurance lines. Professional fees. So we have a single contract firm that does our capacity surveys at our rural sites on a rotational basis, but primarily a lot of this is maintaining both Verner and Sturgeon Falls sites as far as all the testing, the wells, the monitoring, annual reports that we must produce for the ministry and for insurance and for everybody else. And so it is just an increasing cost with our consultants. Mr. Burton, because of his skill set, is able to take on some of that field work for them. So we might not see that we need that full budget, but that's the budget that they provided to us to primarily maintain Verner and Sturgeon Falls, although they do deal with our smaller rural sites as well and do with capacity surveys on our rural sites. You flip over to the next page there, again, hazardous waste, that is the conversation that we had a couple meetings ago. And so that is the hazardous waste from City of North Bay, utilities at our various sites. Shall I pause there, Mr. Chair, before I get into the bit of projects?
Questions at this point?
Wow. So hazardous waste, you said that 36,000, it's from North Bay?
Yep.
What about the stuff that was coming up? The past Sudbury? Remember we had,
You're thinking of the waste, that's what we collect, the non-hazardous, contaminated soils that we collect. This is the hazardous waste that we pay for the depot so that our residents can use the depot in North Bay.
okay, so the other one would be,
It actually is not in this budget. It ties to this budget, but that's WNES that receives that in as income to when we receive contaminated soil. That goes to WNES's budget. And so it does impact this in that when Western Mississippi Environmental Services has good source of other revenue, then they can charge the municipality less on the stuff. But that sits on Western Mississippi Environmental Services, not on the solid waste budget.
so we don't know how much is coming in.
No, it's in their budget. They haven't had their budget presented to them yet. I think that we probably held the line for that. We never know how much is coming in each year. It really is, it does go up and down, but we keep a stable budget line for that.
Would it be appropriate or possible for the future to know it?
So I strongly recommend that council actually, come out to the budget meetings for environmental services and come out to when the financial statements are presented, because you are the controlling body of WNES. But absolutely, yes, yeah.
Great. I had another question, but I forgot. I'll come back.
I was just looking. The latest one I had from June 30th from WNES, the contaminated soils, non-hazardous contaminated soils. I brought in about $103,000 for half year. So I guess I still haven't seen it. It's fun, but on a mayor.
My first question just came from your last comment there and the fact that WNES has not had their budget presented or approved yet. So the contractors line includes the contract with WNES.
Yeah.
And so I just find it interesting that we're approving a budget with an ask for contractors for an outside organization when they haven't done their budget yet, so we don't know what they need.
I agree, except for the related party in this one, that, you know, we have done a lot of work on their budget and their budget presentation, as well as, you know, what is reasonable for a contractor to assess the municipality for. And so you're right, you know, we often do them kind of concurrently. It is an unusual way that they have not had their budget presentation.
Mr. Chair, I have a couple other questions if I can just
Sure.
roll. Thank you. Okay, on the HR costs with salaries and wages, you mentioned the municipal landfill staff. So the people at the rural landfills that are part-time attendants at the gates, they are employees of the municipality of West Nipissing as opposed to being employees of West Nipissing Environmental Services.
So Field is still an employee of West Nipissing Environmental Services. The remainder of our rural sites and Verner are municipal employees. Previously, they used to be employed by Kipling Landfill Board and things like that we paid a contract fee to as opposed to wages to. But yeah, so Environmental Services operates the Sturgeon Falls site for the municipality and operates the Field site. All the rest are municipal employees.
Burner is municipal.
Yep.
As well.
Yep.
Thank you. This. So the contractors line in operating costs includes West Nipissing Environmental Services for their services at Sturgeon Falls and Field.
Yep.
That also includes the private contractors that do curbside pickup in North Minettville
And Verner.
and in Burner. We pay the contractor in Burner for the
Yep.
curbside pickup. Okay, and Living, if they want pickup, they contract separately. The individual households contract separately. There is no household pickup in Living. Is that correct? Okay. Okay, that's all I have for now. I may come down.
What's it, Benedict?
On that same train of thought, like Living and all the surrounding Verner roads, is it that it's coming, the garbage pickup?
Yeah, that is a discussion. So, you know, when we expanded north of Highway 17, we had that discussion about, and can we do south of 17 as well? Because if we, now the blue box curbside hasn't gone quite the way it was supposed to, it's still coming, but the idea is that if everyone who has curbside garbage will get curbside recycling. So expanding expanding north of the highway was an easy stretch for the for WNES to do as the municipal's contractor, because they were already up in Field and there were no other contractors in play. When we look at expanding south of the Highway 17, we have to then have some conversations about, do we want to offer it to the existing contractors? Do we want to ask, including WNES, to fill in the gaps? Or do we want to see what range Frederick and Mercer have to deal with that? Do we want to bundle the whole area up and take the whole area out for a quote from someone, including any of our contractors that are currently working for us? So it's a little bit more. Our manager did suggest that, you know, there's about, 770 residences that might come into play there. And that's just picking up, that's leaving our two existing contractors there and just picking up the stuff in between. So there's certainly some work to be done there. And so, and again, if we say, okay, yeah, we actually want to do it, but we are going to ask WNES to do it. The contractors that are there, as you said, you know, so we pay the Werner one to pick up just in Werner. He then charges everyone else individually. And so, you know, it does just become a bigger piece to look at as far as how we're going to approach south of 17. I think there's certainly a lot of merit still to look at. We're a huge municipality, but can we feasibly do right everywhere, because that solves a lot of other problems, right? But it's going to take some more discussions.
We are actively looking at it. It's just going to take some time.
Was there discussion with the contractor in Werner if he's interested in going bigger? And my next question is it the same price, or is it cheaper to have them there, or is it cheaper to have LBL?
Those are all things that we will be bringing back to you when we have more concrete answers.
And I think for the purpose of this item, we'll stick more to what's presented in the budget, and then that, it sounds like they're looking into it, but just not ready to make a recommendation at this time, but it'll come back at for different meeting, and we'll talk about it then.
One last question, if I may.
Yeah.
Talk about the attendant in Werner. He's a municipal employee. Who's his foreman? It's not Public Works, it's not.
He reports directly to a manager. He doesn't report to a subforeman, he reports directly to a manager. So all of our solid waste employees report directly to the manager.
Okay, the manager
Of solid waste.
of solid waste.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you. I was under the impression that once we removed ourselves from doing recycled pickup, there would be a significant cost savings to the WNES. But I don't see it in the budget where that cost saving is.
So we had cost savings from our contractor line in 2025 as part of that transition. And then as we look towards 2026, our contractor has increasing costs themselves. So they've sort of held the line is what the proposal is. So there's increasing costs because they have wage increase costs. They've got all of the increased costs. We have some savings, like you see, sort of just at 30,000 in the external ones with going on. But yes, certainly, as we rolled through the Blue Box transition, our expectations of how service delivery would run post transition were not as smooth as we were anticipating this time last year. So, you know, our WNES does have more ongoing costs than we had anticipated when we were looking at what they were going to do post transition, just in order to maintain sites and to maintain the delivery. And they do have the expanded services. We've got the whole year of the expanded service north of the highway as well. So all of it kind of rolls up to you know, not seeing that significant savings that we saw last year, the contractor line.
Do we have the details of that? Because for some reason, for me, it was a no-brainer to get away or move away from recycling because we were saving less staff, less equipment. I know we've expanded our garbage pickup, but I'd like to see the numbers or something that I can. Because technically what you're telling me is there's no cost savings getting rid of recycling that we did last year.
So we didn't have any choice in getting rid of the recycling though. So we did have, I think we had a $300,000 savings last year in the reduction in recycling. And so we did take a significant amount of savings last year. And as we rolled through what transition actually means, you know, this is where we are at the other side. And so we're not seeing a duplicate of another $300,000 of savings on this side to once we have rolled through it.
Okay, yeah, just to add some information after looking. So in 2024, the actual was over 1.5 million. in contractor line, and now for 2026, we're under 1.2 million. So there has been some savings there with increased service in some parts. But yeah, it's be about, I think even in 2021, before our term, it looks like the contractor line was about 1.4 million. Now it's only 1.2. So that's without the recycling, the number has dropped on the contractor line, if I'm correct in saying that. Yeah.
Could we have the details of the contractor line expenses, please?
What goes into the contractor line?
Yeah, please.
I can give it to give you verbally now, and then we
No,
can
no.
do it. Yeah. Send it?
Just
Okay.
breakdown.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
just curious to,
Yep.
I want to try to understand.
Yeah.
What's in there, so. Thank you, Mr. Jeff. Yeah.
Just as a note, if I could, Mr. Chair, we have added 600, almost 624 new curbside pickup locations in. At a transitional rate, obviously, but there is that also that to take into account.
Yeah, just, may I just make a comment? It's just we've removed all the recycling pickup, so there's more than 624 people not getting recycling pickup at the moment, so that's why I'm questioning. I can't seem to put my head around where that saving is going. So that's the only reason why I'd like to see the contract.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Mayor, I don't know.
Yes. So we added 624 households. How many households do we have remaining that do not receive any curbside pickup within the municipality? Do you have that number? It's obviously 700 plus, you said, south of the highway.
And we have island rates and
Mhm.
folks like that as well, so.
If you don't hide, it was just out of interest to see where.
And we did find, again, during transition, there are some places that we can't get to, so we don't go down our seasonal roads.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say there's probably about 1,000 homes or 1,000 homes that don't have curbside right now.
And that includes the islands and the inaccessible properties?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Question. So, the proposed increase is 4.67%. I know we all like to have that number. What does 1% equal on this budget?
Oh. 15,092.
Thank you, Madam.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
It's like that's it for now, so you can keep going.
If we will provide contract, if council is generally in agreement, then I can bring back rates at a future meeting, or if council needs it to come back for more discussion with the contractors, we can do it. Kind of wherever council wants to go from this point.
By a show of hands, who wouldn't be comfortable with the information that's in this? Yeah, we can still get the added information. Who would be comfortable with what's been presented? Further information in the future. Madam Mayor? Yes. I think I saw a majority. Yeah, okay. Would there be anything else, or that's good for now, and then we'll receive that added information in the near.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you. Now, for the next.
No, she still has her special project on.
Oh. Thank you. So on the very last page, yes, we do have special projects. And when you look at the 5-year, you can see that we call it sort of like it's in our capital. And as you can see, a lot of the special projects revolve around the engineering on those sites. This time we do have the replacement of the attendant building at the Verner landfill site. But the reason we're seeing kind of low numbers in what's been achieved the last few years in the special projects has to do with just that delay that has gone on with the expansion at the Sturgeon Falls site. So since things were sitting with the ministry, our engineers or our contractors weren't moving things forward, we weren't moving along with that. So again, they've got, engineering costs in there for continued work once we get over the hurdle of the ministry looking at our file.
And to speak to that, since our delegation, I have heard back from the ministry. They've provided comments and we are working on moving that forward again. So we're seeing some positive movement there.
Thank you for that.
So the replacement of the attend building and burner. So that's the little
A house.
lady house.
Yep.
On top. $48,000.
So again, Mr. Burton has done some research, and I know that we have hobbled things together at our landfill sites for a long time. But they are workplaces, and we do have to provide reasonable workplaces. I believe this is one of those like prefab little things that he's got here.
Yeah, we're looking at a prefab.
Yeah,
Because there's already a building there,
yeah,
Oh, the building there is,
yeah.
but he's
the
not,
floor is rotted. It is not a safe work environment, that building.
it's not a residence, he doesn't sleep there.
No, but we are required to employ or provide for employees with a safe work environment.
Okay.
Thank you. Looks like that's it for.
Yep.
Thank you. So for our next item. Councillor Larrabee is unmoved. Suggested or brought this agenda request forward. We'll look for a mover and seconder to defer. Or I can do that.
It's in committee, so we don't need we don't need a motion to defer, but we could ask, with agreement of council, just ask for this to come to the next agenda, so Councillor Larrabee can be present.
I show of hands, what Madam Mayor, this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the regular portion of our meeting. First item is our consent agenda.
It is moved by Councillor Paladin and seconded by Councillor Gagne. Be it resolved that the consent agenda for the council and committee of the whole meeting held on March the 3rd, 2026 be approved as presented.
Okay.
I'd like to request that the item 714, the minutes of the meeting be pulled out.
That's all I have a question.
Okay, seconder for that, please. Councillor Federain. All in favor? Carried. Oh, so.
Yeah. I also like to pull, 7.1.1.
Okay, that's council committee of the whole meeting, 17th. Hold on a second, I'm sorry, I need to just get a vote to pull George's, Councillor Federain's first, so all in favor? Carried. Second, we have a motion to pull 7.1.1 from the consent agenda by Councillor Federain. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Restool. All in favor? Carried. So then the consent agenda resolution is on the floor, minus 7.1.1 and minus 7.1.4. Questions or comments on the remaining items? Or, okay, all in favor of the consent agenda as amended? Carried. Okay, we'll go with them in order if you don't mind, Councillor Federain, Councillor Federain. Do you need to read a separate resolution for the council and committee of the whole meeting?
It is moved by Councillor Paladin and seconded by Councillor Gagne. Be it resolved that the minutes of the council and committee of the whole meeting held on February the 17th, 2026 be adopted as presented.
Any questions or comments?
My question was on number 9. The tender for the 20-ton trailer.
Okay.
If I remember right, yeah, we just had one bid. And I still don't understand this. We have a trailer dealer right in our municipality. And I stopped in this afternoon and he wasn't aware that this was there. So what did we do to me? If I shop a trailer, I'm gonna shop around. So how do we do this?
I'll pass the floor to you, Ms. Craddock, but I'm sure it has to do with our procurement policy, which
We have a procurement bylaw and that speaks to levels of authority and how things are handled. At this level, it goes out as a formal process. It is advertised on our website. We don't have the ability to just go and get quotes from a bunch of people. And really you know, the same goes with all of our stuff, our contractors, and if they want to do business with the municipality, you know, they follow our website, they follow some Mercs, they follow those sources for bidding on our process. It was advertised. We also do a little thing in the Tribune as well with all of our tenders that go out. They put a little comment in. You know, they are well advertised. They circulate for 21 plus days. There's lots of opportunity for everyone to see the documents.
So, you know, like, I think that in plain language for local businesses that are interested in bidding on items like this, the municipality's website, all of our tender opportunities, all of our purchasing, according to the procurement bylaw, is posted on the website. So if you're a local business and you're interested in providing services to the municipality, it's up to you to check out the website on a regular basis and see if there are opportunities that align with your business.
I'm just wondering if there's another way that we can, because they supplied the municipality before with trailers, and so for the last 2 years, they haven't. So did something change? I don't know. Is there a way that would make it easier for them? I don't know, have a pool, and if we put something out for bids, it's sent to them. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
So
So
it'd be easy. I'll ask my neighbor here, Monsieur Barnier, he's pretty good at that.
okay, I just want to be clear on process here. So the motion that's in front of us now is to accept the minutes of the meeting. So the discussion should be focused on a conversation about whether or not the minutes accurately reflect the events of the meeting, of the last meeting of council. And we're kind of moving into a conversation on procurement policy, which now is not the time to have that discussion. Like, this is a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting only. And if there is something in the record of the meeting that's been presented that is inaccurate, now is the time to bring it up. But to have a conversation about, you know, if we want to look at the procurement policy, and there are certain rules that municipalities do have to follow, and staff could give us advice on that during a separate conversation. But this is we are just supposed to be approving the minutes of the last meeting. It's not to bring up a discussion that was already had to discuss a policy or changes to policy that might be required. So I just not sure.
I got it.
Okay.
You can stop. I got it.
Okay. So at this point, you're not recommending that there be any amendment to the minutes of the meeting? Okay, but if you want to make a note for our next meeting, we can. But, okay, so there's a motion on the floor to adopt the minutes of the meeting from February 17th, Council and Committee of the Whole meeting. Are there any other questions or comments in relation to the minutes? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. This, I have one for 7.1.4. It was canceled.
Yeah, it's moved by Councillor Eller and seconded by Councillor Gagne. Be it resolved that the minutes of the West
Sorry,
Nipissing.
it was moved by Councillor.
No, he needs to remove it.
No, that's theirs.
Okay,
I signed it.
okay, thank you.
Be it resolved that the minutes of the West Nipissing Police Board meeting held on November the 24th, 2025 be received.
Okay. Again, this is just being received, but Councillor Ferrer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to ask for a clarification on those minutes. And it's to do with item 4.2, third point. Launch a red light camera program with Global. The board noted support for the municipality to move forward with an application for Forsall in front and King in front. What I'd like to ask is, are we planning to have red light cameras in West Nipissing? Or am I misinterpreting this completely?
Sorry, and I don't know I'll go to Councillor Gagne, who's chair of our police board.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As chair, the request is that we will be coming to the municipality requesting red light cameras from the OPP Police Board Services. It has not been done yet, but I need to have a discussion with Ms. Henning that is in charge of this file. And that has not been done yet, but it is the wish of the West Nipissing OPP board to try to do something, at least starting with the Coulson intersection. But we thought since we'd like to move forward with a request, we would most likely ask for King and Coulson to maybe try to do both. But there's a lot of red tape that needs to be wiggled before we can actually move forward. So I just need to have the discussion with Ms. Henning, and it will come back to council after. That is the intent.
Councillor Ferrer.
Thank you for the explanation. The way I read it, it sounded like the request came from the municipality
No.
to the police board. So that's why I
Okay.
asked the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Councillor Resto.
If it's not the place for the question, I pull a question back through you, Madam Mayor. Just for those on the police services board, I guess. Typically, when we have things that are related to traffic, like speeds or lights in general, safety crossings in Vernon, we talk about it here first, and then we go outside to determine if it's something the council wants to proceed with. It just seems like this is kind of backwards, where we're having the police board look into this before we've spoken about it here at this table. Is that backwards? Am I wrong? And if it's not the right place for the question, that's fine.
No, I don't, and I think that was Councillor Ferrand's kind of concern when he first read this in the minutes. And I'll let Councillor Gagne speak after me, but the way I see it is that the OPP is also responsible for safety on our roads through the enforcement of the Motor Vehicle Act. Did I get the act right?
Highway Traffic Act.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Pilon. The Highway Traffic Act, and so they're identifying an issue and a potential solution that they think is needed in the municipality based on the data and the information that they have. So, I don't know, process wise, if there's a horse cart, analogy there. But I actually think it's kind of proactive. If we do have a police board that in their discussions around all kinds of community safety issues, sees things that the municipality may want to do in order to address those issues and bring them forward to our attention, because maybe we don't see it because we don't necessarily see that data. But that's kind of how I perceive it, is that it's kind of a proactive approach, whether or not it's forwards or backwards.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And just for clarifying, I look forward to the response in the background. It just sounds like this has been talked about at that board, and now our staff is receiving direction to look into this before it even comes back here, where we're usually the body that provides that direction to staff.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's happening, and we, if it wasn't raised here, I wouldn't know that was happening, right?
Yeah, really, like, I can't tell you 100% sure, but I know if the OPP doesn't endorse it, or request won't go nowhere, because it is on a highway stretch and not a municipally owned road. So we took that approach, whether we bring it here first to ask council. Like, I was gonna bring it as an agenda request. I will not ask staff to do any work first. I just want to know, like, what's your take, and is there a lot of work to be put into this, to put red lights at our intersection?
Right.
And if so, well, then if they don't have time this year, I won't submit an agenda request, because I don't like to burden staff. So I can bring it here first if you'd like to, Councilor Westall, and we can vote on it, and then we can ask staff to do whatever after. Nothing has been done so far.
Yeah, and just for clarity, I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to the idea, just it was more process in terms of how we do things.
Yeah.
Great question. Councilor Fedon?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to comment on that. It led me to do a little bit of research on red light cameras. It is entirely a decision of a council, and a red light camera can only be installed with a bylaw of council, and it is council's decision. I don't believe, maybe our CAO with experience can correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't see any indication that it's down to the police board, and the police board could recommend it, I suppose.
I think
but-
that's what the minutes are meant to denote, is that the board had the discussion and intend to bring that as a request to council. So it's, one of the roles of the police board is to address community concerns and work with the OPP so that the OPP are responsive to specific needs within the community. And so I believe that they, whether perhaps the minutes are written in a way that's a little confusing, but I believe that the intent from the board is that the police board, in their direction to the OPP, is supporting an approach to the municipality as to whether or not this is required. And the red light camera debate would happen once that request has come from the OPP, or once one of our council member representatives makes an agenda request. So that's the way I see it. Other questions or comments on that? Okay, Councilor Brevard?
It just makes me think it's similar to like those speed tracking. If your board talk about it and say, hey, we really think this street needs it, the OPP board, then that can come back to the recommendation of council, right? So that's the way I see it as well. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to accept the minutes, receive the minutes of the police board meeting. All in favor? Carried. Next on to planning.
Is moved by Councillor Paladin, seconded by Councillor Gagne. It resolved the West Nipissing Municipality hereby scheduled a special council meeting for the purpose of reviewing and discussing the draft of the comprehensive zoning bylaw, being phase 3 of the official plan project, and that members of the planning advisory committee be invited to participate in the special council meeting, and that the special council meeting be held on, and that's the question.
Okay, I believe in the original memo that was submitted agenda package, the dates identified were Monday, March 16th and Wednesday, March 17th, when I met with our CAO earlier this week.
Remember,
March 17th.
It's the 18th, yeah, because we have our council meeting on the 17th. Sorry, Monday, the 16th, or Wednesday, March 18th. Realize in our meeting this week that that is March break. And whether or not, I already know that we have two members of council who will not be in attendance for that meeting because of it being March break. And so was there, I know Mr. Pilon was speaking to staff about whether there are other alternatives to those two dates.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There were alternatives to those dates. I think the original discussed date was the 12th of March. I believe
It's a Thursday, actually.
And alternatively, just to stay outside of the March break period, other two dates were 23rd, Monday, the 23rd, or Thursday, the 26th. And Ms. Willick indicated that the consultants are available for either one of those three dates. I think
Is the 12th a little early for them, given the work that needs to be done in advance?
the 12th is an early date because she has anticipated, and Mr. Poulenc can probably back me up on this, that she will only get the report out to council, the wrap-up report, consultation report out to council by the end of this week, which gives you pretty well less than a week to review and have a look at if there are any concerns or recommendations that need to be made back to Ms. Willick and her group before the actual council meeting, special council meeting. So that was the fear that Ms. Willick had, but to actually start to hold that meeting any time past late March would jeopardize some of our timelines and would be potentially difficult to meet some of those timelines.
Okay, and I just want to note as well that the meeting we're discussing here is the combined meeting between council and the planning advisory committee. It is not the public meeting that will follow. So this is just to review the red line amendments and give feedback. And then a clean draft will be prepared. And once the clean draft is prepared, then a public meeting will follow. Do you have a preference between the 12th or working into that week later on, the later week?
So yeah, the preference is to get it done within that time period.
Okay.
So the earlier the better. It's just, I think it's a council decision as to whether or not you feel you'll have enough time to have a look at the red line revisions and whether or not you'll have enough time to provide that feedback back to Ms. Willick and her group.
Okay, thoughts on that?
Certainly pass that along to Mr. Poulenc for any further comments.
Just for clarifications, what were the dates later in March?
The 23rd and the
23rd.
26th, the Monday or the Thursday.
That's a busy week, right?
It is a busy, but
An evening thing and.
Yeah.
Okay, government meeting, or is it that a week and a half? But those were the proposed dates outside of the March break period. We just.
and they work with
we're pretty
that
short.
schedule.
Okay, good.
Okay, question, comments on? It's good. And Councillor Resto?
If we have to start somewhere, the 23rd would be my choice. I wouldn't be the 12th because I'll be traveling for the
Okay.
March break.
Councillor Robarts?
I
That's
agree.
good on the 23rd as well.
Yeah, it's the only day.
Okay, who would be available on the 23rd?
That the Monday or Thursday?
That's the Monday.
Monday.
Which one?
I'm in Toronto for work, but I'll try to zoom in. Yeah, right.
Okay, Monday, the 23rd. Works. Councillor Nicoll, you had your hand, 23rd is okay with you? Sorry, I missed you on the screen there. Okay, so resolution will read as Monday, the 23rd to start at 6 p.m. Which was part of the recommendation on the in staff memo. All in favor? Carried.
It is moved by Councillor Gagne and seconded by Councillor Perrin. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-14 being a bylaw to appoint Michael Pilon as deputy clerk for the West Nipissing municipality and to repeal bylaw 2022-35 be adopted, and that this bylaw shall come into force and take effect on the day of.
Okay, questions or comments? All in favor? Carried.
It is moved by Councillor Perrin and seconded by Councillor Gagne. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-15 being a bylaw of the municipality of West Nipissing to rescind bylaw 1999-17 shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Okay, so just to be clear, this is the bylaw that had formally appointed a drainage superintendent. At one of our recent meetings, we appointed Mr. Remy Harder, manager of Public Works, as our drainage superintendent. Which is a what do you call it? Something position. Statutory. Thank you. Statutory position. So this is just repealing the former appointment. Questions or comments? All in favor? Carried.
It is moved by Councillor Ferrin, seconded by Councillor Rivard, whereas quotations were received for the supply of a walk-in rescue vehicle closing February 19th, 2026, and whereas the bids have been reviewed and recommendations been provided, be it resolved that the quotation be awarded. And I'll leave that to council to discuss.
Okay, so this resolution deals only with the rescue vehicle, and then the other one, we will have a second resolution for the tankers. So on the rescue vehicle only, are there questions or comments? Okay, and the recommendation for this, as we've discussed, there is a delivery date difference. On the rescue vehicle, the price difference between the two lowest is not as substantial. So council needs to make the decision as to whether or not the 20 to 24 month delivery period is worth the difference in price. Councillor Rivard?
Thank you through you for this one in particular, the walk-in rescue, seeing as we had budgeted 600,000 and no matter what if we go with the Battle Shield, we'll still be within budget and we could get it by the end of this year, knowing some of our fleet immediately. For this one, I would definitely suggest going with Battle Shield for the shorter timeline.
Okay. Other questions or comments on that? Councillor Pellerin?
What's a walk-in rescue?
Chief?
Walk-in rescue, so our current rescue is a walk around, so there's no inside compartment. Everything's from the outside of the vehicle. The walk-in rescue would provide us with a place to do rehab as well as an internal, so almost like a motorhome for simple terms. There's an entrance from the back, an entrance from the side, seating inside, command table inside, compartments inside to store equipment. There is also roll-ups on the outside to be able to put rescue equipment, various components of that nature, self-contained breathing bottles, those things on the outside of the unit.
So it's not a pumper?
This one's a walk-in rescue. This is the rescue truck. No pump on it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Councillor Bonnie?
Thank you. Is that the walk-in rescue truck in dire needs to be replaced immediately?
Yes.
What are the major issues on the truck?
When you turn the steering wheel, the siren goes off. Lights sometimes light up, sometimes they don't. Several electrical gremlins starting to show up. Pardon?
How old is the truck?
That truck is 2001, and it was bought used at the time to replace the previous van that they had as a rescue unit.
Thank you. Councillor Rivard?
I forgot to add, the reason why this one is lower, I don't mind going, it's a slightly higher one to get it quicker is That's the one that was carried over from 2023, so that's the one that's actually been pushing more. New tankers, when we get to that, that's where my decision changes a little bit based on the timelines of our budgeting for those items as well.
Thank you. So. Sorry, any other questions or comments on that specific one? Councilor Goni?
Get a guarantee that we'll get that truck in 2026.
Yes, I can confirm that that truck will be delivered this year.
Okay, thank you.
So, as a recommendation that we, from one of our counselors, that, given, delivery time and, that we go with Battle Shield Industries, even though it's a slightly higher quote because of the delivery deadline. Do I just put that to a vote? But if it doesn't.
I'll just read the resolution with
thank
the
you.
information. Be it resolved that the quotation be awarded to Battle Shield Industries in the amount of $587,890.
Okay. All in favor? That's carried.
It is moved by Councillor Rivard and seconded by Councillor Ferrin. Whereas quotations were received for 2 mobile water supply fire apparatus pumper tankers closing February 19th. Whereas the bids have been reviewed and the recommendations provided, be it resolved that the quotation be awarded as follows.
Okay, so it's the same again, but there are 2 tankers. Again, there is a difference in price, but there is also a difference in delivery time. One company being able to deliver within 2026 and the others are 20 to 24 months. Questions, comments? Councilor Rivard?
Just to add to the statement that I said earlier, these two are, they've been pushed back not as far, and to save $115,000 going with the lower costs, and then it'll also stagger some of our assets instead of getting 3 assets in 2026, and that's the same problem 25 years down the line. I think it's important to do fleet management where we stagger assets as well.
Anybody else? Councilor Ferrin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If we are going to keep an older vehicle for possibly another year, by taking the lower quote, through you, I'd like to ask whether it's anticipated there would be additional maintenance costs on the older vehicle that could offset the difference in price.
Chief Buffer?
You, Madam Mayor, yes.
Would the, through you, Madam Mayor, would the chief venture an estimate of how much that would be?
To you, Madam Mayor, what we are looking at is your regular maintenance, so possibly brake job. There you're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 on that maintenance. The regular servicing, there's another $800 to $1,000 as far as oil changes and grease jobs and stuff like that. And again, that's barring any other mechanical or electrical issues that we may run into.
I have may I ask a question just along the lines of the maintenance? Do you, when you track your maintenance records, do you track it by vehicle? So do
yes.
you know how much tanker 1 and tanker 7, you know, like, do you have data over the last 2 to 3 years on the maintenance costs on those vehicles?
Yes, we can pull that information if council wishes.
Councillor St. Louis?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So when we do replace these 2 tankers, are they going to be surplus or are they going to go somewhere else? What are we going to?
Replacement tankers?
7, yeah.
So through you, Madam Mayor, these are to replace some of our older trucks. So we have 2 of them currently that the pumps have failed. Sorry, one, the pump is completely failed that's on it. The other one, the manifold that feeds from the tank to the pump is rotted out. So if you try and use the pump on it, your water is being sprayed all over the road as opposed to out the nozzles where it belongs. So the intention is to replace those 2 trucks that are older trucks as well, and shuffle equipment around to, as I said before, taking vehicles that are in a high service area, move them to a lower service area or a lower call volume area, and try and extend the life to get through. And as Councillor Rivard had mentioned, to try and stagger our fleet management program. One of the things that has happened, and no contradiction to the chief of the day, at the time of the amalgamation, that's when a lot of trucks were purchased through the amalgamation process. So that's we ended up with a lot of them in that same 99 to 2001, 2002 year range.
Councillor Russell.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate the comment regarding staggering purchases, but I think if we go with the one option here, we're gonna be in the same situation. We're just gonna be a couple of years down the road, right? If we're ordering two and they can come in within 20 to 24 months. We're not really staggering it, we're just putting a couple more years. I think to the comment of repairs to existing vehicles, we're not truly looking at only two, we're actually looking at four, right? Because we have the two older vehicles that are gonna be replaced, plus the two that we're currently utilizing. So if we're gonna push this back 2 years, that's actually four vehicles that we're looking at maintenance on. And it sounds like the two older ones are in pretty dire straits right now. And fire protection and safety is important. I think if you take, in my opinion, I think if you take all of that into consideration and the fact that we were looking at 2024 for one of these to be replaced, we could be looking as far as 2028 before it comes in. That's an extra 4 years of, unplanned, I guess, replacement. And looking at that amount, if we split that up amongst four vehicles in over 2 years, and the importance of safety within the community and getting kind of caught back up in our schedule of replacing the fleet, I'd be supportive for this one as I was for the previous vehicle that we discussed, to go ahead and get some action going on these. We've been waiting a couple of years to get these vehicles replaced, and waiting another 2 years, I don't think is the safe option to go with.
Okay, Councillor Pellegrini.
Yeah, Mayor, just to follow up on what Councillor Sayhui's asked. Those two we're talking about, tanker 1 and tanker 7, are they gonna be replaced or surplus?
Tanker 1 and tanker 7 are gonna be declared surplus and then sold through our disposal policies.
So one of them,
Both of them.
Two of them.
two of them, so they're gonna be surplus.
The two new trucks are coming to replace two of our current fleet.
So they're not gonna be moved to another one and,
As I mentioned earlier, through you, Madam Mayor, we have two of them that the pumps have failed, one that the pump has failed, the other one that the manifold has failed. Those are the two that I'm looking at removing, selling as surplus, and then shuffling trucks around to be able to bring these two new into our higher call volume stations. And
no, yeah, I understand that. That's what I'm asking. It's these two trucks that the pumps have failed and they're leaking, or is it another truck?
two other trucks that the pumps have failed.
Okay, so those two are not gonna be surplus.
Those two won't be surplus, they'll be moved to other stations.
Okay, that's what Councillor Sandy was asking, I think.
Sorry.
My other question, I think I agree with Councillor Rivard. This has been put in the budget over 2 years ago. It was a big rush. I think it would have came back a little earlier. So if we're saving over $100,000, I'd rather go with the lowest bid, because it says there Battlefield supply in 226. 226 goes up to December, and the other supplier is 20 to 24 months. So there's not a big difference there. So we're talking about $100,000. So I'd be inclined to support the Councillor Rivard on this one.
So, because I would like to write a resolution that will pass. I can see we've got two that would prefer to go with the Carl Thibault. For a lesser price but a longer delivery time. Are there others around the table that feel the same? Okay, so if we can write the resolution as Carl Thibault, please.
It is moved by Councillor, I'll just read it again. It's moved by Councillor Rivard and seconded by Councillor Ferran. Whereas quotations were received for 2 mobile water supply fire apparatus closing February 19th. And whereas bids have been reviewed and a recommendation provided, be it resolved that the quotation be awarded to Camion Calvo Inc. In the amount of $1,275,880.
Okay, questions or comments, although we already did that. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
It is moved by Councillor Ferran, seconded by Councillor Rivard. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-16 being a bylaw of the municipality of West Nipissing to execute an agreement with Her Majesty the King with regards to His Majesty the King in right of Ontario for the transfer payment agreement under the Municipal Housing Infrastructure, Health and Safety Water Stream shall come into force and take effect on the date it is passed.
Okay, questions or comments? All in favor? Carried.
It is moved by Councillor Rivard and seconded by Councillor Ferran. Whereas policy 1999-131 provides that members of council may attend no more than 2 conferences or seminars annually. Whereas the Association of Francophone Municipalities of Ontario, AFMO conference will be held in Sudbury from March 25th and 26th, 2026, which conference will not necessitate overnight accommodations or travel expenses to members. Be it resolved that provisions of policy number 1999-131 be waived to permit members of council who wish to attend the AFMO conference in Sudbury to do so.
Okay, so there was information in your package there because it was so close to home. I thought I'd bring this forward. The proposal is that members of council who wish to attend AFMO at the end of this month could do so without it being one of the 2 conferences that they're entitled to under the travel policy. Municipality would pay for the registration fee and for mileage back and forth to Sudbury, but the daily stipend that is generally allowed for conferences would not be paid. So I'm looking for support from council if that is agreeable to everybody, and if so, the information will be sent out tomorrow, and if you wish to attend, you can do so. Okay, questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And we're now moving into closed
No
session.
addendum.
Oh, I'm sorry. There is an addendum for this evening.
It is moved by Councillor Ferran, seconded by Councillor Rivard. Whereas requests for quotations were sought for municipal sweeping for 2026 with a possible extension to 2028. And whereas 2 quotations were received, whereas council concurs with the recommendation, be it resolved that the quotation for municipal sweeping for 2026 to 2028 be awarded to Deep Construction in the amount of $178,750 for the year 2026, 27, and 28, being the lowest quotation meeting all specifications.
Okay, questions or comments? Councillor Rivard?
I have a question regarding like the contract itself. I've gotten a few people who've contacted me about the area that's between the road and the sidewalk. Often that shoulder, often it's paved in some areas. I know Neptune Street has a large portion. And I have gone out for the past few years and it hasn't been. So it just makes me wonder, like, is that part of the contract where you'd have to sweep the sidewalk, that slope, the asphalt and the road, because it ends up just staying on that asphalt area that's sloped, and then when it rains, it goes back on the road. One gentleman in particular has brought it up a bunch, but there's also been more who brought it up, and I've noticed it a few times. So I was just wondering, I was waiting for this to come up to kind of ask that.
So is there specifics in the contract?
I would have to review the contract. I believe that that is required and we do expect that they are done. If there's areas that are being missed, then yeah, make sure they're submitted and we'll make sure they get done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. That's the only item on the agenda. Okay, and now we'll have a resolution to meet in closed session.
It is moved by Councillor Rivard and seconded by Councillor Fadden. Be it resolved that we proceed into closed meeting as authorized in section 239 of the Municipal Act to discuss the following: proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality by the municipality or a local board, labor relations or employee negotiations relating to the field boat launch and the West Nipissing Fire Service collective bargaining.
Okay, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you.